This is Mike Lindell, as I'm sure you can tell. He's hosting what he called an election crime summit or something like that. I don't know. He keeps moving the dates. You know, on August 5th, we're going to have this information. It's all going to be over. It's going to be proven without a shadow of a doubt. On July 17th, you know, we're going to know without a doubt. And he just keeps moving the date further and further. Every single year, he's got some special event. His cyber symposium, his documentary, Absolute Proof. Like, he keeps putting out this nonsense, claiming it's going to be over because, you know, it'll be undeniable. And then at the end of it, it's just all nonsense, all of it. Right? Well, he's holding another one right now. This came out on August 16th, 2023. The summit, I guess, is happening August 16th and 17th. This speech is titled How We Got Here by Mike Lindell. And it's bound to be absolutely psychotic, of course. So I wanted to give it a listen. By the way, one quick thing. You might see this logo here, Election Crime Bureau. He actually ran for head of the RNC against Ronna McDaniels, I think is her name. He lost terribly. But Ronna McDaniels decided, you know what, okay, I'm going to cater to the Trump wing, and I'm going to give Mike Lindell an election crimes bureau to make sure that there are no crimes that take place. It's not any official government anything. It's just, you know, basically it was a little thing to satiate his upset, if you will. So under the guise of the Election Crime Bureau, this logo that he created here, he's going to give this speech. Let's give this a listen, see what he has to say here. This is on his website.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome host of the Election Summit, Mike Lindell.
Wow, apparently when you click on the video, instead of pausing it, it mutes it, but continues playing. What kind of a terrible video player is this? Okay, anyways.
Overturn the election.
Oh my god, dude. His video player absolutely sucks. I hate it. Anyways. All right, let's give this a listen. Oh, and while we listen to this, we're going to play some Final Fantasy VII. It's pretty early game. I'm just kind of going through and doing whatever. So if you never played it, it'll be in the background. Shouldn't bother you too much. Quick interjection. I won't take long. I just wanted to tell you guys, YouTube's algorithm operates off of a few factors. Watch time, whether or not you subscribe, and whether or not you like something. So if you really want to help my channel, I would appreciate it if you guys watch the video to the end. If you don't watch it to the end, just watch a little bit longer than you would have otherwise. I would appreciate that very much. All right, let's get back to the video. All right, Dude, I hit spacebar and it's not pausing. I really hope that's not going to be like the... God, this video player, dude, it just sucks. It's terrible. Okay. It seems to be pausing when I hit spacebar now. Is he going to say something? He's just going to stand there and let people, like, cheer for him?
Yeah. I want to thank each.
Yes, absolutely. Let me tell you what's going on here. Oh, God, this pisses me off more than you could possibly imagine. I hate this so much. This video player, when you hit spacebar, it does nothing. And when you click the video, it doesn't pause it. It mutes it. You have to physically take your mouse and hit the pause or the play button. Mike Lindell's video player sucks, okay? It sucks. Okay, it appears as though I have successfully downloaded his... Yeah, I think I successfully downloaded his speech, so we don't have to... I can pause and play at my leisure, and we don't have to use this stupid, terrible video player. All right, let's give this a listen then.
This historical election summit is so important that it's being broadcast around the world in 85 languages on frankspeech.com.
It's being broadcast in 85 languages. Wow. And it's so historical. Totally, totally.
This election summit is not going to be about more evidence. We have enough evidence. Evidence has been the easy part.
Well, give us the evidence then, Mike. I've been waiting for it. You know, he actually used to have the evidence on the quote unquote evidence that he claimed on his website, and he doesn't anymore. You know why? Because he's being sued by Dominion for lying. The evidence, quote unquote, that he had was things like people, just random people claiming that they had information that said that Dominion voting systems. Oh, good. It's okay. My cat's dealing with diabetic, hypoglycemia hypoglycemia event right now. She's at 102, so that's good. That's good. That means it's stabilizing a little bit. Anyways, the evidence that he had on his website basically claimed from random people that they knew for a fact, signed affidavits under oath. They knew for a fact that Dominion voting systems worked with the Hugo Chavez, government in wherever the hell, and, votes are sent over to Germany and all this other garbage. It was nonsense. They said this stuff under oath. I mean, signed it under oath. And when he realized he was being sued by Dominion for lying, and it got real, he removed that evidence. So this quote-unquote evidence he's talking about is non-existent because he removed it, because he knew it was a lie all along.
Enough evidence. Evidence has been the easy part. This summit is all about hope and the plan to secure our elections immediately.
I thought he was going to say our right to secure a future for the 14 words, That's where I thought he was going with it, but okay.
I want you to watch this video and see if you all remember this. God gave us grace on November 8, 2016 to change the course we were on. God had been taken out of our schools and lives. A nation had turned its back on God. And
I mean, like, all of that is complete nonsense. That never happened. But, yeah, fascinating that Donald Trump invited Mike Lindell to the White House to give a speech like this. Crazy.
I encourage you to use this time at home to get back in the Word, read our Bibles, and spend time with our families. Our president gave us so much hope where just a few short months ago, we had the best economy, the lowest unemployment, and wages going up. It was amazing. With our great
I'm not sure when this was. When did this conference even take place? I have no clue. Like, everything that he's saying here is a lie.
President, Vice President, and this administration, and all the great people in this country praying daily, we will get through this and get back to a place that's stronger and safer than ever. Okay, everybody.
Yeah, I think I vaguely remember some of that, but okay, what's your point here? You know when things started to get better? You know when the economy started to come back? When Trump left office and Biden took charge. That's when things started to get better. Just putting it out there.
That seems like a lifetime ago, doesn't it? In that speech, you heard me say that God has given us grace. Well, people come up to me all the time and they say, Mike, this doesn't feel like grace. But, we have been given grace. We're living in the best time in history to be alive. And I want to take you back to December of 2019. Remember that consumer confidence was at its highest in history. We had the best economy ever.
Okay, so this is before COVID-19 hit. Actually, we have the best, well, by his measurement, when he says best economy, what he means is the highest value on the stock market. So if you look at the stock market, give me a second, and I'm going to pull this up so you guys can see it, but I have to actually hurry at this part. There are a number of different measurements for the stock market. Some are better than others. There's the Dow Jones Industrial Average. It includes a certain number of companies. I forget how many. 10, 100, 500, I don't remember. Then you've got the NASDAQ. It's another kind of compilation of some of the bigger companies. I'm actually going to put in my my noise canceling headphones because I've got drilling in the background right now because they're repointing the brick on my building. And so I'm just going to pop these in so that it's not distracting to me. And I'll just cut the sound out for you guys later. So we have industrial averages here. Dow Jones Industrial Average is usually the one that we go with to measure how the economy is doing. It's not really a measurement of how well the economy is doing. It's a measurement of how well very large companies are doing and very rich people are doing, ultimately. If you want to look at how well the economy as a whole is doing, you got to look at a number of different factors like unemployment rate, the U3 and the U6, not just the ones that are on unemployment, but the ones that have given up on looking for work and things like that. There are a lot of factors to think about when analyzing whether or not the economy is good, but this is the number that he's using right now, the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So in 2019, let's see, we can just take a look here. Let's look at the past 5 years. Right, so 2018. Okay, so what did he say? January? Wait, no. What did he say? Like September 2019 or something? It was the highest that it had ever been technically because the Dow Jones Industrial Average trends upward. That's how it works. If a company like Netflix, for example, or Blockbuster, that's a good example, is included in the Dow Jones Industrial Average, then what they do is they take its stock price of, say, $500 or whatever, and they add that to a total to get, after adding in Netflix and Facebook and Twitter and whatever other industries that there are out there or whatever other companies, they get 36,000 after adding up all of these different numbers, right? If Blockbuster goes under, they just disappear from the face of the earth because they file bankruptcy. Their stock price is zero now. The company just isn't in operation anymore. They remove it from the industrial average. So now you're left with companies that are only going up, and it's a smaller pool to derive an average from which to derive an average. And that's why you see the Dow Jones Industrial Average and all of these other, the NASDAQ and all the others, steadily trending upward. Every time the economy grows just a little bit at all, you see the industrial averages go upwards. So that's what Mike Lindell is probably talking about here. Let's look at the 5-year average. So you can see here, the end of 2019, it was the highest it had ever been. Just like in 2018, it had been the highest it had ever been. 2017, I mean, that's how it works. It's how it's always worked. And then you can see a massive drop here, March 20th, 2020. That's when people started taking the pandemic really, really seriously and realizing how negatively it was going to affect certain industries. I think the Dow Jones Industrial Average includes companies across a number of different industries. It's not just social media. It's not just coal mining companies. It's a whole bunch of stuff. Again, you got the S&P 500. You've got the NASDAQ Composite. You've got the Russell 2000 Index. They all have their own different set of companies that try to measure the stock market. So February 23rd is when it really started to dip, and then it hit a bottom on March 20th, and it started coming back up a little bit because the Secretary of the Treasury did some tweaking, changed some numbers, made interest rates a little bit higher, a little bit lower, depending on what needed to be done to adjust the economy, and it worked. That's how things work. That's how the stock market works. That's how people do their calculations. As you can see here in this graph, since 1983, it very clearly trends upwards and will always trend upwards because companies that die are removed from the average. It's just how it works. So what Mike Lindell here is saying, what was it he said again?
And I want to take you back to December of 2019.
December 2019. Let's look. So we'll hit the 5-year mark, December 2019. February is when it started to fall, February 2020. December 2019, that was its high point. December, January. So yeah, it was the highest that it had ever been at that moment. Let's see. On the graph, December 2019. Just looking for where it is on here. Yeah, December 2019, right here. It was at 28,455. That is the stock prices of a certain number of companies. I don't know how many are included in Dow Jones. 500 maybe. That's all of their stock prices added together. So December 20th, we had a total of 28,455. And then it plummeted. And now we're at 34,000. What are we at? We're almost at 35,000. So we had a little bit of a drop in stock price in the past year, or recently, the past 5 years. And then we had another boom. So I think it topped off at 35,365, and now we're at 34,959. That's just how the stock market works. And that, my friends, what he's doing here is called p-hacking, and it's a method of manipulating statistics. I just wanted to point out the strategy, the propaganda strategy that he's using, so you're aware of how it works, and you can keep a lookout for it in the future.
Remember that consumer confidence was at its highest in history.
That's correct, yes. It was at its highest in history based on the Dow Jones Industrial Average and the S&P 500 and a bunch of others. Sure, consumer confidence was at its highest because that's how economies work. They trend upward. The more kids you have, the more immigrants you bring in, economies trend upward.
The best economy ever, lowest unemployment, everybody's...
I don't think, that's not true. Lowest unemployment in history? That does not sound true to me at all. I'm extremely skeptical of every claim that Mike Lindell makes in this, but keep in mind, with the first claim he made, he used the p-hacking strategy, basically cutting a graph off at a specific part so that it looked really, really favorable to your position, your belief. So I'm immediately going to doubt like everything else that this dude says, truthfully.
Quality life had improved, but people were not giving thanks to God. People usually don't thank God when things are going good. Well, then along came the China...
I think the word is when things are going well, not for nothing. Okay.
Well, then along came the China virus.
He's got to call it the China virus. Why? Because he wants to be a scumbag. No other reason.
And the globalists, the CCP, and the deep state, and the Uniparty, I'm going to refer to them today as the evil. Okay?
Okay, anybody that he doesn't like is to blame for all of this. Got it. Go on.
From that point on, a stolen election and all these things we've been going destroyed and the American dream being...
What happened? Did it just... Damn, apparently I lost a few seconds. That sucks.
Things we've been going destroyed and the American dream being destroyed.
Apparently, when I downloaded this video, it wasn't perfect, so I lost a couple seconds. I think he's saying they were trying to destroy the American dream.
People have lost hope. Well, I stayed in a town in California last fall for about a week. Gas was $7.80 a gallon. The town felt so depressed, and you could feel the hopelessness.
Right, so gas being really high right now and really low during the pandemic is another way of p-hacking. That's what it is when you cut one side of the graph off and get just a little figure that's like useful to you. Here's another example of p-hacking. Let me show you. Let's just look at the Bud stock price. It's actually Anheuser-Busch. Anheuser-Busch. Yeah, let's look at their stock price. Let's see. So let me show you something. This is another example of p-hacking. Right here, this is Yahoo Finance. They're showing the Anheuser-Busch, the parent company to Bud Light, their stock price, right? Here's a perfect example of p-hacking. So there was a conservative protest against Anheuser-Busch, or against Bud Light, because of some stupid anti-trans garbage. I don't even remember. Back in, when was this? I don't remember when this happened. Anyway, this is p-hacking. So they'll take this one little sliver right here, this 1 month thing, and they'll say, look at this. Their stock price was at $58.87, and now it's at $55.31. So they won't even cite the prices. They'll quote the percent that they affected it, and they'll claim that they were the ones that made it drop like that, right? So $55 divided by $58. So they affected it by 6%. They made this stock price drop by 6%. Showing that if you go woke, you go broke. That's the line that they were giving us, you know, the conservative extremists, the people like Mike Lindell. But if you just zoom out to 1 year, 5 years, and then max, you can see that there's an overall trend of it going up and going down, going up, going down. Let's look at 5 years. You know, it's down from 5 years, but from 2020, it's roughly exactly the same. That 6% drop that they were showing us is basically exactly, I mean, it's within the normal range. I'm hard-pressed to say that they affected anything with their stupid boycott. So, anyways, that's p-hacking. You just take a little sliver here and make it look like you affected the change. You take the high point, and then you take the low point, and you say, look, from you know, July 28th, 2023 to August 16th, it's down by, I don't know, 7%. That's because I boycotted them. P-hacking. That's the idea. And that's what Mike Lindell operates off of. That's like his whole thing. P-hacking. So Mike Lindell here was talking about how gas prices were really low during the pandemic and really high during, like right now, like currently, after the pandemic, or after people stopped caring about the pandemic, at least. That's p-hacking. He's taking its lowest point when people weren't using their vehicles at all because there's a pandemic and they were working from home, and he's comparing it to a time when they were using their vehicles again, when when the national gas reserves, yeah, that's a word. When the national gas reserves were being strained. That's Mike Lindell doing p-hacking on gas prices, like he just did with the stock prices earlier. The stock market was better than it had ever been. Gas prices were lower than they had ever been. He's just p-hacking. He's just lying. This is just a blatant lie. And he knows it is. He knows what he's doing.
Asphalt.
In my humble opinion. For
about a week. Gas was $7.80 a gallon. The town felt so depressed, and you could feel the hopelessness.
I'm deeply doubtful, by the way, that he found gas for $7.80 a gallon anywhere, except maybe Hawaii. But okay.
Everyone in the town seemed to be between 25 and 35 years old. And
like, what town is he even talking about right now? I am so lost. Is he giving us, like, anecdotal evidence, or what's happening?
They kept coming up to me wanting to talk, and not about my pillow. They wanted to talk about what was going on in our country. They were looking for answers because they were afraid. And I tried to give them hope. I explained to them that there is an evil that has invaded our country. A deep state, globalists, our election platforms are broke. But God has had his hand in all of this, and I would comfort them.
Kind of like I've had my hand in your mom.
Telling them that things are looking bad, but God uses all things for good. I'm going to tell you, from there I went down to Florida to bring my pillows and blankets to the hurricane victims. And we went into a Hispanic...
Okay, yeah, I don't trust Mike Lindell, anything that he says at all. I'm extremely skeptical, so... yeah, let's keep listening.
Trailer park. It was like a river, the gravel road with dikes on both sides of all their worldly possessions piled up. And it was just so sad as I'm...
like, I don't even know what hurricane he's talking about right now. I don't remember this, but okay, whatever. Go on.
Going through there, and we had interpreters, and when we were talking, we were praying with them. And most of them, though, all they asked was, is there...
They were praying with him, huh? He's talking about hurricane victims. They were praying with these hurricane victims. Let me tell you something about prayer and hurricane victims. Here's the deal. As George Carlin says, God has a master plan. What would the use of a master plan be if every schmuck with a $2 prayer book could come along and fuck up your plan? God is not interfering in anything that's going on right now. He's not, period. Okay? I'm very confident in that. And if you want to know why I'm so confident in that, let me give you a single example of why. Some years ago, there was a flood that took place in Nebraska and Iowa, and my wife and I were driving through the Iowa area at the time, I remember, and it had destroyed farms, completely destroyed. Family farms, been in the family for generations, destroyed permanently. There's so much water that it was now a lake, and nothing would grow in that soil again for 30 years, maybe. I mean, you could drive through these areas where the road was, like, half the road is falling apart because there's so much water. Everything's waterlogged. And you see random houses that with water up to, halfway up the door or up to the first window or whatever. Destroyed people's lives, countless people's lives. And I have a picture of it somewhere. I've shown it on stream before, but in the middle of one of these basically lakes that used to be somebody's family farm is a billboard with a picture of Jesus on it that says, "God, I trust in you." Didn't do much good for those people when they needed it, did he? God may or may not have a master plan. Your prayer is not going to affect it, I promise. Anyway, I can tell that this is going to be an absolutely wild ride of a speech that he's about to give, so stick around for the next part, because I'm actually really interested to hear what he has to say on this subject.